Call the meeting to order and rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for all first responders, particularly those that have fallen, and also particularly all of the peril in California. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to move item 7 between item 3 and 4.
We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion, Alzeki, approval. Fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay, so item 7 is up now. Who's taken the lead?
Commissioners, thank you for your time this evening and Happy New Year. I am Assistant Chief Dennis Iannotti, currently in the role as Fire Marshal for the town of Fairfield. I have 2 items that I wanted to present to you this evening. Item number 1 is the Fire Prevention Poster Contest. The state of Connecticut hosts the Fire Prevention Poster Contest every year, and this contest began in 1988 with the goal of incorporating life-saving fire safety lessons for our students, specifically in the 4th and 5th grades. Children are among the most vulnerable of our population, whereas they are the most likely to learn and retain the fire safety message in our public education component. The theme is fire safety, everyone, every day. The goal in the end is to educate our youth to prevent fires, and most importantly, injury or harm to them or others. This program instills many messages and reminders that we provide our community from time to time, from the time that they are in nursery school all the way till they're senior citizens. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a history and background on this actual program. For this year in 2024, the program begins October 1st and runs through the end of November. In the town of Fairfield, we have 15 eligible schools, 11 of which participated this year. Approximately 300 students participated in the program. The posters are provided to the fire marshal's office and members of the fire marshal's office, administrative staff, and the command staff selected the winners here in town. So in order to promote the contest and the importance of fire safety to our community, the fire marshal's office wanted to offer an extension to celebrate all town winners here at next February's fire commission meeting. Prior to the event, the department will be hosting a pizza party for all the winners invited prior to the meeting. My goal at the meeting is to introduce all of the first and second place winners for each school that participated and award them their prize provided on behalf of Firefighters Local 1426. At the meeting, I also wish to unveil the 4th and 5th grade overall town winners of the contest. Those 2 specifically participants have their posters entered into the county level judging, and 2 county winners will move on to the state competition, in which one will be selected as the state winner. The state winner will be used to promote fire prevention throughout the state of Connecticut and will be an official state poster. I am proud to say that in 2017, Mill Hill School had a student that was state winner. There is monetary prizes that on the county level as well as the state level if those individuals win. And all the winning posters on the county level will be exhibited at the state capitol during the month of October. Moving forward, our plan is to frame and hang the annual town winners in the hallway here at the fire training school for the 4th and 5th graders. To be on display to promote fire safety, as well as our amazing students for all visitors to see. I believe this is a great platform and an even greater reason to celebrate the contest, our schools, and most importantly, the students. I would like to get this added to the agenda for next month's February meeting if approved. On behalf of the Fire Marshal's Office, myself, Deputy Fire Marshal Jeffrey Edmondson, Fire Inspector Ron Vargo, and Administrative Assistant Jennifer Farr.
One quick question.
Yes.
Could we get our hands on the 2017 winner? And so like we put up, I love the idea, like just putting up all the like more local winners, but then have that one sit up there forever. And then we hopefully are driving people to say like, we want to win this more consistently. And any winner of the state gets a spot here on the wall.
We got that framed at headquarters, so we can.
Oh, okay, oh, great.
Bring it down and just.
Yeah, this gets more traffic, so.
Yeah, that was kind of our
Yeah, I
thinking,
think
was the fire school gets traffic from a lot of different entities, right? Not only the fire service, but you have public
Right.
meetings here,
Yeah.
people coming in and out, and then we get more.
But like people said, and the kid who did it in 2017, when they're 30, will like bring their family here. It's like,
Hope so.
yeah.
They're getting close.
They can bring their kids.
Commissioners,
That's a great idea.
Any questions on that?
any questions? Any? Okay.
It's wonderful.
Great.
Just for the record, I'd like to ask that it be placed as number 4 on the agenda after we do the moment of silence next month. And we won't have to vote to change it.
We don't need a motion, right?
No, I
Okay.
just directed it.
All right, for my second item is the Fire Marshal's Office fee schedule. The Fire Marshal's Office is responsible for all plan review, inspections, and code enforcement for all new and renovated projects. In addition to mandated responsibilities of conducting inspections on all existing buildings, ensuring compliance for safety of all occupants in the town of Fairfield. Almost all of our duties and responsibilities in the Fire Marshal's Office are statutory mandates by the state of Connecticut. Of those mandates, I want to speak about inspections and specifically to present you with updated permit fee schedule requests for our office. To provide you with some background, the last schedule change was made in March of 2019, which is approaching 6 years. Since then, the landscape in town has changed significantly and continues to change. I believe you were each provided a copy of the update, and I would like to take a moment to identify the changes we have collectively made. Were you all provided that?
Yes.
So just in the changes to the fee schedule, demo fees, our goal is to increase from 25 to 100. Construction site temporary heat increase from 50 to 100 per permit. Commercial roofs, currently we collect 0 fees for that. We're looking to collect $100 for those fees as well. Liquor license with assembly, that's a typo. I'm gonna strike a with assembly out. I apologize for that. I didn't catch that until recently. The other fees on the second page are new fees. The first one is business, $25 for each business. Those are performed on every 3 years, depending on what the business type is. Assembly non-liquor, those are gonna be, our request is $50 per assembly non-liquor. Dormitories in town, those are on an annual basis, and those would be $50 per building. And then multifamily apartments, as well as hotels, which are again, annual inspections. And we've broken those down up to based off of units. So $100 up to 8 units, $250 from 9 to 50 units, and $500 for more than 50. We've made here are pertain to the fire alarm. Currently, we collect $50. We're looking to increase that addition and alteration to existing to 100. And the same thing goes for fire sprinkler systems. Now, all of these changes, again, are based off of statutory requirements that our office shall perform. With that said, in order to collect the fees, we need to perform the inspections. In order to perform the inspections, we need the staffing to perform them. So whether we raise the fees or not, currently we don't have the staffing to perform our statutory obligation. I know I've provided a lot of information to think about. I'll take any questions at this time.
Yes, go
I'm
ahead.
just curious, the $50 for the dormitories, correct me if I'm wrong, but a dormitory could be 8 or 10 floors high and,
And that was
is that
the
because
same
Yeah,
one.
that's the one that
user
jumped
friendly?
out at me.
Is that
That's
because you're
what that
trying
means,
to
too.
be friendly toward
Um,
universities?
Well, currently, we don't get anything.
I gather
So,
that.
and those are performed on an annual basis. So in order for us to perform those and get something in reimbursed, the dormitories fall under a different classification. So therefore, they're different than a multi-residential house.
Okay, thank you.
But, you know, $50 to anybody, any facility group that's got a dormitory is chump change.
That's right.
You know, it is, you know, that's gotta be. My thought is anywhere from $100 to $250.
It's
Because
negative.
that's putting you in that category of 9 to 50 units at $250. That's just how I feel on it. $50 is, you know, that's almost not worth writing the check.
Yeah, it
You know, for
costs us
them.
more to process it.
You
And
know?
then too.
So that would be my recommendation, but
We should have it follow the scale for the multifamily.
We're making
Well, the units won't
75,
work the same,
or
but
make it
No,
70.
you get the townhouses, so you charge $100 there. You got 9 to 50 units, $250, right? They tell us, some of them are 50 more, that's $500. And we
Now
now
that-
in the schedule, we can say, we're not singling you out, we're just making you like the rest of town.
are the townhouses considered multifamily dwellings or are they dormitories?
Yeah, they're dormitories.
They're dormitories.
Yeah, they're not multifamily houses.
Okay,
So that's why I think we didn't put them under that same category,
right.
for that exact reason, that they are kind of.
But you put them in their own category, but I just think the fee is not high enough. For the amount of work that's gonna be done, you know, I'm coming in from a commercial aspect, when we go out to look at things. We're charging $125 an hour just to go out and look at things. How long does it take you to do a dormitory?
It takes all of a day, depending on the size of the dormitory, because we have to get into all the spaces, not only common spaces, but all
The
the.
closets and
Correct.
utilities and everything else. So, you know, I mean, you wanna do $50, fine, do $50 an hour. You know, it's not reasonable to me.
So I'm gonna ask questions, oh, sorry, go ahead.
What do other towns do?
As far as dormitories,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't check with the other municipalities that have universities. To be quite frank, my focus is here. And if other entities aren't performing them, I think it's okay for us to be the first.
No,
So,
we should definitely.
but I'm not exactly sure with the other places.
I just meant the
Do perform.
fees, yeah.
Their
no,
fees.
yeah,
But he's
yeah.
saying he doesn't think they have them.
oh, I don't know.
For dormitories, I'm not sure. I can reach out. I will definitely reach out and look into
Like Stanford, Stanford, New Haven.
University of New Haven. I'll reach out to them.
Hamden,
Like West Haven's building like crazy, University of West Haven.
Hamden.
So, my only other thought on this whole schedule, looking at it, I don't think there should be any fee under $50. And that's just me, but
Business.
Temporary liquor permits, that's often non.
Demo, tent, air supported structures. Temporary liquor, well, come on, we need some. Cultural. Business, $25.
Yeah, so the businesses were more like you can have a small shop.
Yeah.
And we have to perform that inspection every 3 years. So for us to kind of go and perform, and they're all different sizes and differences. So some of those take a little longer than others, but we felt that right now we get 0 and we have to perform them anyway.
I'm fine with like, businesses get whacked with so much stuff all the time. Everywhere they turn, it's hard to do business in this state as well.
Mhm.
So we turn off for $25, I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that one too.
Yeah, and I am with the temporary liquor permit because it's often a nonprofit running.
Oh, yeah.
I would also, on the, I'd be fine in just considering those.
Just map it up to that schedule, right?
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. Do you think you can make, like, do some analysis, tell us? You
Well,
think-
it's, except it's rooms, it's not necessarily units, and the same with the dorm is not the same as a townhouse.
So what I can do is I can go back, I'll gather some more information and get it back to you guys. Just so we can clarify that.
So should we in fact approve all but that one and wait for more information so that you can move forward?
I think I'm fine with that. Yeah, the dormitories are the big one that we have in question, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, $50 is just,
Dormitories and townhouses kind of thing and how they fit in the scheme of things.
This is not dormitory inspection.
multifamily gonna take.
Right.
So that all depends. Right, so that we have to get into all of those units as well, so you have to do the common spaces and also those units, so.
They're hours.
It depends on how much you find,
Dollars this.
Yeah. how much you find, right?
Dollars is.
I mean, I'm not opposed to increasing 200 if that's what you feel. I just want to make sure that I can give you all the data and
Right.
facts prior to
Yeah.
making that
Right.
decision.
Yeah, no, we ought to have some more data on that.
Let's make a motion.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if the other towns are charging much more.
It could be,
Yeah.
it could be.
So, with any other questions, commissioners?
I do, but let's get this portion approved, but you threw another statement out there that I wanna investigate on Alex's behalf. Is that-
Okay, so I could use a motion of approval for the changes with the exception of dormitories.
I approve.
We need a motion, you're making it.
I'm making the motion to approve as discussed, accepting dormitories.
Yeah. And who's the next second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So our colleague Alex is always, when it comes up, very passionate about having more fire marshal, just capabilities and manpower. So could you elaborate on what you'd kind of thrown a statement out like that? I don't know, you just elaborate, I feel like it's a safe space, we're in the trust tree here, right? So tell us what.
Well, ultimately, you see a lot of fee increases as you see here, so you always generally see that in dollar signs. But ultimately, if you don't have the people to perform the inspections, on a daily basis, we get plan reviews come in, phone calls, complaints, follow-up inspections. Let me not forget to mention fire investigations, which take not only the time to go and complete to do a cause and origin, but sometimes many hours to complete the paperwork that's involved, photo logs, report, meeting with investigators, so on and so forth. So, so that requires additional people. We have 2 universities here in town. I know that we've requested manpower in the budget in the past. That was cut out of the budget. I know that I've requested 2 additional staff, 1 deputy fire marshal and a fire inspector, additionally to our office currently, and a restructuring of that. So we can reassign personnel to specific aspects similar to what they did with the multifamilies. If you see my report, unfortunately, we have an individual who's been on long-term injury for a year now. And that's, short staffs our office as well, including myself and 2 other a deputy fire marshal and inspector to try to perform the duties that are requested of us.
Thank you for sharing that, and I'm not gonna make a motion, but I want
We're gonna
have,
continue
I want
to
Alex
discuss.
to like, because Alex been very much on
Right.
top of this. So we should make this a point for next meeting to come in
Yes,
to make that a point.
that'll work, that'll work.
That's all, thank you.
and I have a question, if I may. Madam Chairman,
Yes,
and this may be a union thing or not, or whatever, but we have a vacancy for over a year in the fire marshal's office, which is short-staffed to begin with. How do we go about filling that position? Can we take that individual who I believe is a lieutenant, rank lieutenant, fire inspector, firefighter. He's a firefighter. Moving back into the firefighter position, promote somebody else to that position, and then do the overtime at the firefighter's position. Because right now, there's nobody, you don't have anybody come fill an overtime for that position, do you?
Currently not.
Right, so
Commissioner,
you're
I think
short
we have to
staffed.
be careful about micromanaging. I know the chief is working on budgets and overtime to solve some of this
Well,
problem.
I'm not trying to micromanage. I'm just trying to figure out, we're short in that office.
Right.
Maybe we need some ideas to figure out.
Right.
How to get in there. That's like I said, I mean, it could be something that is, oh, we can't do that because of contract negotiations and stuff. I understand that.
Through the chair may,
Please.
coming up in under personnel, we do have a plan to address some of that.
Okay.
I'll be sharing it with you.
Okay,
Thank you. I
All
wasn't
right.
gonna say that, but
see, I'm not that
there
far
are
off
things,
base.
there are things going on to try to fix some of this.
I'm not that far off base.
No, not at all. Does that finish what did we vote approval?
We did.
Okay. I need a motion on the minutes then, please.
Move to approve.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's done. All I will say is, I had it, thank you for coming.
Thank you for your time.
We look forward to working with you on the kids house.
For sure, thank you.
I've had conversations with David Becker. I think he's gonna be here for the executive session. He couldn't be because he's in a Board of Finance meeting now and he should be to get here soon. So, and the chief is in on those conversations. And chief, you're up.
Good evening. So we've had the first budget review with the first selectman and his staff that took place December 16. We're awaiting the scheduling of the board of selectmen. That hasn't been scheduled yet. The Connecticut Testing Consortium has another department from Fairfield County which is signing this week. So that'll be a total of 12 people in that testing consortium. It's an update in that consortium itself. We've got 25 women Connecticut firefighters enrolled in a FEMA fertility and cancer study that's gonna be held down here. So we think that's a great thing for safety and future of females in fire service. The new town of Fairfield CFO started this week, Tom Harris. A new grants manager started this week. We met with Gregory Riley, came over to talk to the deputies.
What's the name?
And Gregory Riley, yes. So he's gonna give us not only help with the writing the grants, but the the fiscal back end of it. What happens is every time you have a grant, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of the federal grants are very difficult to keep up with the paperwork. I think the philosophy that the town is that they want to give the departments, the agencies, the staff to do some of the minutiae so that we can kind of do the meat of the matters, but they can do the minutiae. So we're looking forward. He's very personable, very experienced, and he's also got a background before grants in journalism. So I think that'll help with writing the grants. This week I gave him access to all our AFA, all the FEMA grants throughout the city. I was able to take it off and hand him access to all of them so he can see any FEMA grants from any agency in the town at this point, and can do, he's an admin now for it. So we're looking forward to that. The town heads, department heads met with the state delegation, the representatives and State Senator Wong a couple of weeks ago. The town delegation also wants to meet with the fire department command staff, and they're trying to schedule that shortly. Let's see. So we have a couple things. I think I'm gonna ask my deputy to talk to you about the fire marshal position, but we're also we've been authorized to offer a lieutenant deputy training officer, deputy safety officer pilot program at the training school here. We've put it out to lieutenants and we're gonna see if we have any interest coming back, but it will be it's a job description has kind of running the fire school just to take the burden off the training director so that he can do more training and to keep this place, moving as it has been past past few years, at least decades since I've been here and beyond. Let's see. We had a major break in the sewage line at Station 1, where they dug up and they replaced a piece, but then they found there were still more issues, so they're gonna have to make an L out to the street. And we had a major boiler issue at Station 4 in December, so I just wanted to mention these as they highlight some of our aging infrastructure issues. So we are definitely looking forward to any construction monies that the town is going to include for us. The town has also provided some new vehicles which are awaiting upfitting. I think we talked to you about the EV, the electric vehicle. It's just gonna take some time to upfit these vehicles because all the vendors are just so busy right now for some reason. But the great thing about this is we're gonna finally be able to push out some of those two-wheel drive Crown Vics, which you can't move in the snow, and they're hand-me-downs to the police department. They didn't want them, they were junk when we got them, then we had to spend thousands of dollars retrofitting them, and they're the worst of the worst right now. But anyway, so we're getting some new, wheels in the fleet, which is gonna be great. And all our new purchases are usually SUVs or something with at least four-wheel drive or four-wheel drive capability. So the thing is, we're not just using these things to go on inspections or this and that, we use them for response. Deputies, the fire marshals, the training officer here is the safety officer. They're going, in harm's way each day and each night in the snow and the rain, they're not stopping for, bad weather or things like that or holidays. In regard to the radios, unfortunately, I have no update from my last update. We still haven't heard back from the vendor. And so we're waiting for them to come down and install the software on our handheld radios and to install the remote microphones. In emergency management, we did hold that event I think I was telling you about last time, which was December 18th, called Building Stronger Collaborations Between Faith-Based Organizations, Community Groups, and Municipalities in the Wakes of Disasters. So this conference was well attended. It was at the hotel up at Sacred Heart West campus. And many, we're talking all throughout it and found that many of the representatives of the NGOs just didn't know who their EMDs were. They didn't know much about the emergency management and how everything worked together. So it was a great thing where they could kind of see Region 1 at its best and kind of make big connections. So I think that's gonna give us some great outputs. UI is trying to schedule with us the annual storm meeting with the town agencies. So they'll meet with the first selectman's office and members of the emergency management team, fire, police, DPW, etc. So that's going to be probably early March. And that's my
Questions, commissioners? I have just one. What ends up being the follow-on to that Region 1 meeting? Since really there's some connections missing along the way.
Oh, well, you know what, it's just, I just think a lot of those people, they're in their organizations, they're doing everything, but they don't really know, the apparatus here, maybe they don't, their emails, they're not getting Region 1's emails, so, this way they can better coordinate. If there is something where they can help us, like during something, then maybe they'll be reaching out or we'll reach out to them, but you don't really know who some of the players are or what their capabilities are. So, and even like a lot of the churches were there too, so different community groups and things like that. Now they can help us during reunification, or if we needed a warming center or something like that, we can help them if there's, if they have security issues or concerns about, during storms or resilience and things like that. So I think it's anytime you can get people in a room who have similar interest and we're all interested in safety and security and it's great. It's great.
Very good. Thank you. Deputy Chief, who's
Hold
up?
on, hold on, we can't have like such an event like that's going on in California. I feel like we. Dish are different, but like the way we were proactive with matching people when we had that bad drought, right? I wanna commend you all for that. Then some things coming out is like the water pressure and things along those lines and vegetation in your homes, like we having discussions about that, for like, are there discussions amongst the department about like how we can advise, I mean, we're a different climate, we're the northeast, they're, you know, west, but some things are still similar, right? So
Yes, so there are
Forest could
takeaways.
burn.
Yeah, during the drought, what we did is we did put messaging out telling people that, you know, if they've got brush around their house, well, maybe they've gotta clear that up. Everybody, you know, is very you know, ecologically you know, conscious, so that maybe they're doing mulch piles and things like that. Great idea, but you know, all that mulch is fuel, so keep it away from the house. Keep it away from any sources of you know, ignition or whatever. So I mean, there are things that you can do, and maybe there's more that you can do. We really never kind of thought of ourselves as being as vulnerable as, you know, the West.
last fall, we were.
But last
Yeah.
fall, we
Yeah.
were, so it was kind of a new thing for us to preaching about wildfires, you know, we never thought we'd be doing that. But you know, and people still kind of, some people did ignore us still, you know, we put out so much messaging about no unnecessary fires, bonfires, things like that. Halloween came and people were having bonfires. You know, kids were kids were going down the beach and lighting things up for fun. So it doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue, it actually shows that we should continue.
Yeah, no, I think you did a
Yeah, I
great
was gonna
job.
say,
So that hopefully maybe somebody, didn't you get the message, you know?
There was some of that going on, there was.
Well, there was a
Oh,
lot of.
yeah, we
Yeah.
got like calls from people saying, oh, so-and-so, you know, they're telling on their neighbors, but it's for safety reasons, you know, they don't want their own house burning down, so.
Have we ever done analysis, cause like, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah,
Have we ever done analysis, cause just having lived in the lake area, like we talk about this all the time. Aquarian is not sending the amount of water to this town that they were a few years ago. Yeah, no, it's going to southern.
Greenwich.
Yeah, it's going to lower parts of Fairfield County. So it's just something to think about. Like, should we think about that?
well, you know, if you were worried about hydrants, cause I think, cause you had mentioned that you heard that hydrants, but I think that might have also been because the volume was being used throughout that system, fighting so many fires, so, you know, once you start, you know, opening hydrants along the way, you're gonna start having a drop in volume available. Normally speaking, our pressures and our volumes seem to be very, very good here. Aquarium is very proactive. It's gotten even better since I got here. Skylar Sherwood was working with Dan Lawrence, who's, you know, their director of operations. And they've been putting in mains, larger mains, which is, you know, cutting down friction loss and giving us better, you know, capacity. I came, you know where I came from, and in that place, you know, we had a lot of hydrant issues. They don't seem to have the same issues up here, so I do like the water system here. It's doing a good job. H. Barnum, yeah.
You set it up many years ago.
and a guy named Sam Senior and Sam Senior Jr., who I knew as a little girl, and those are cool names when you're 5 and 6 years old.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll go for operations. So I'll talk about, if I could go talk about facilities as well. I'll start with that. The air project is still moving on. They have a masonry contractor out to a couple different stations, and they've made some poles, and it's quite a big project, quite a big undertaking they're taking, and then that gets backed up with electrical contractors, so the town's doing a good job managing that. Hopefully we'll see some strong progress in the next couple months that gets completed up. Some of the stuff that's going on with that, they're also putting hood suppression systems in at the firehouses, so when people are cooking that are connected to the alarm system and things like that, so it's all stuff that we didn't have that we're now getting. Station 5's boiler was certified by the state, so that was they did that project over the summer. One of the issues that we found with Station 4 is since they've cut the new hood system in, it's really cold in there. Because there's not a lot of insulation. The building's from turn of the century, so maybe 1913, I think it was built. So guys, the department struggled during the cold days. It was probably close to 48, 50 degrees in certain rooms because it's just not warm enough. Town was down there, we looked at it, we're trying to adjust it and make it a little bit better with some quick Band-Aids, but we definitely need to do something serious with some of these buildings. I did want to take a moment to thank James Ryan and his DPW crew. As the chief talked about, we had a pretty nasty sewage spill at Station One. And when I say nasty, it wasn't a lot of sewage, but it was potent. And it filled the entire room up, so we met down there at 9:30 at night. It's coming through the walls, it was a broken pipe, so they were out promptly the next morning. They dug it up, they got it, and it was freezing cold out. They dug that pipe up and got it cleared for it, so we got functional again. But it's, aging infrastructure, that's what we have, those are the problems. So that's it for facilities for now. Operationally, we had 859 incidents for the month, 1,379 unit responses, 5 building fires on the books. 2 were significant, we had 2 extrications and 460 medical calls. The 3 fires that were really significant, 3 fires were significant, 1700 Post Road, which was Heritage Square. Was a fire in a stairwell, was called in. It was a pretty good smoke condition, live fire condition. Fortunately, we had a unit that was around the corner. It was actually Chief Kamola, he was doing the Santa Express. So he was able to take command of that really fast and directed crews, and it got extinguished very quickly by their first arriving. The next one was 240 Alma Drive, and that was a single family home. Mother, father, and 2 kids lived there. The reason this one was so significant to us is this was a Bridgeport firefighter's home, and he was on duty that day. So arriving on scene was Lieutenant Vaporis, acting Lieutenant Vaporis. I can't say enough about how he quickly directed everybody where he needed to, and it just shows that he, a lot of experience. He really knew what was going on, was able to get the fire under control. We got the house searched, but that home's a complete loss to them. And with a lot of the standards that have changed for that, they have to raise the house now and some things like that. So we all met out there not too long after that. That night, myself and Chief Case and Chief Dunn were there. He called the Bridgeport chief who came down, and we met with him there, and we did everything we could. He was on duty, so they had to wake get the company up and get him over there. So it was pretty significant to him. But our guys did a tremendous job putting the fire out and taking care of the family after that. But Tony Wong, he did a fundraiser booster trying to generate some traction for them, because they lost literally everything. And when I talk about this fire was fast moving, now this is a firefighter's house who has smoke detectors working. All that stuff is in place. Fortunately, the daughters were at the sister's house that night, so they weren't there. She woke up, the cat woke her up, here's a smoke detector, and she's bailing out the window with the dog, the cat, and everything. So it was as close as it comes. The other one was Louvain Street. It was a 911 call with very vague description. Our dispatchers did a really good job figuring out what it was quickly. Dispatched it, units got there, engine 3 got there pretty fast, got some water on it, changes everything when you get water on it. Got inside the house, made sure everything was good, but one of the homeowners attempted to extinguish the fire themselves and suffered facial burns, so off to the burn unit for him. I think he's doing okay. We had our SantaCon event, which we don't want to really talk about.
We talked about that last one.
Oh, boy.
Did we get that in? Okay. I know it was in the month of December, so I just went back. The next thing that's important is a medical call I wanted to talk about, which was at Fairfield Ward High School. So there was an incident there where at a basketball game, the referee suffered a medical emergency and went into cardiac arrest. Very fortunate for him that he works in a community that's a heart-safe community. What that means is there's a lot of defibrillators and things like that, and training that's added attention. A lot of training gets done out of this building for the school systems and things like that. So the trainer was there. The coach's wife, who happens to be a PA and a bystander from the stands, came out, started CPR, got a defibrillator off the wall, were able to convert him, and he was talking by time he was leaving the building. So truly a save that would not have been possible had those people not been there at that time. I spoke with the chief about this, and one of the things that you guys can do there is a civilian service award. And the description for that is a personal assistance by a civilian during an emergency operation or extending one's own safety in order to assist the fire department. I can't think of anything more important than this, unless there's some other award that you think, but I think we definitely should recognize these individuals for performing that, not even thinking about anything else other than doing what they needed to do. Now, I realize one was trained, but you don't have to do anything. And all three of them stepped right up, did what they did and saved this person's life. I would volley that to you.
Commissioners' thoughts? Great.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I figure out what's convenient to the family, and we probably ought to do a motion, so draft it, we'll just approve it in January, or in February, but we can also, if they're available, do it in February.
Good year.
That would be, I wouldn't wanna let it go too long.
Yeah, no, I have no problem.
Get them together.
Yeah, we'll work on that. I just wanna get, bring that to your attention and.
Just ask permission.
It's great.
That's it for stuff for me.
Comment,
Okay,
on, basically on that there, and I don't know how many guys in the room would remember Captain Olroyd, going way back. Captain Olroyd and his wife, started a program back then. It was a CPR blitz, and it was to see how many people we can get trained in the town in CPR. And I think we did like 2,000 people. I mean, it was crazy. And that was when it was one person, two person, this and that. And now basically CPR has become just hands only. I think it would be much easier of a program. So I don't know. And I know we're taxed as it is now. With stuff.
It's in the high school curriculum.
It is.
Every high school student is taught CPR.
So if we can, actually, that was, even when I was in high school, that was part of it. All the way back. Had horses.
So it,
Yeah, high school.
yeah, the high school said-
One room schoolhouse.
It had 6 rooms.
Yeah, that's, I actually spoke to my son, because that one medical trainer is
Yeah.
for all the sports up there.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, do you know CPR? He goes, oh yeah, we're taught CPR in school, it's part of their health class. I think they in junior year, so at least they get most of the town gets some exposure to it at some point, which hats off to the school system.
So I don't know if there'd be, any funds, state, federal funds, because if we can maybe do hands-only CPR and maybe tie in a stop the bleed.
The cost truly comes with the certification.
Right.
So anytime you certify for American Heart, something, it's a cost for that card. If you're just doing it to understand how to do it, maybe, nobody really cares if you're certified, if you're saving their life, it's as long as you're saving their life. Obviously, all of our people are certified. So
well, that brings me to sort of a thought back on the grant writer. Will they be able to, so you folks are wonderful about identifying sort of fire-connected grants, I would say. But there are other foundations that I think, you don't normally think of for fire, but I think education, community, they'll show up. And is that person gonna have the capacity to do any research for us?
We met with that grant writer, if I may, and spoke with him about alternative sources of funding beyond the federal FEMAs and things like that. He's aware of a lot of them, and we're working together to identify more.
Okay. And I wouldn't leave out the foundations and nonprofits. There's some big money out there. Good, thank you. Anything else, gentlemen?
Yeah, I wanted to touch back with the personnel issue that Chief United spoke about in the fire marshal's office. We do have that member that's been out on injured leave for close to a year, if not a year, at this time. The rest of the office has done everything they can to keep up, but when you're one person down,
And already short-staffed.
it's very difficult to keep up with that. We came up with a proposal to try to supplement that staff with some overtime positions of going out and performing inspections. So we got approval to do that. And we are starting that program off now. We have 6 individuals that are sworn that are able to do those positions or do that work. The way we have it set up is they're going to be basically doing the re-inspections on the most serious violations of the occupancies that are listed out. So Dennis did a great job of identifying what all those were. He created a list, he prioritized it. As our people come in, they're handed 3 packets and they're off to do their work. That is a stopgap. We know that that is not a permanent solution to that issue, but we do need to start shoring up our people because they're just, there's too much work for them.
Yes.
Gonna get
Thank you.
burned out.
And it's been an issue as long as I've been on the fire commission, because I was part of the efforts to increase the fire marshal's fees, and should have gotten 2 people that year, but.
Staffing is a challenge everywhere. Every department would love to increase as we would as
Yeah.
well. We're working through the process to put our information out there and make our requests known and those positions priority.
Well, and probably ought to be prepared with a forecast of what kind of fees we just raised, so that it's part of the budget discussion.
That's all I have on that first.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Certainly.
Deputy Chief Barry, I missed the go around. Deputy Chief, you indicated that the building number 1 was very cold, and it's an old building.
Number 4,
Number 4, right? You said 40 degrees,
it was 48 degrees.
or 48 degrees. And this has been going on for quite some time. I'm sure the hood didn't take all the heat. It just
Not all of it,
used it.
but
So
some.
every room, so I can't believe I live in a town like this and you've got men that we respect and they're dealing with 48 degrees.
The men and women that work down there are, you know, they're resilient and they're getting by. We met with the Board of Finance, Mr. Becker over there, to try to show them what the living conditions are down there. It's very, very difficult. Even to the fact where if they have to, the driver has to get to the driver's seat,
Yes,
they have to climb over the truck. Because trucks have gotten bigger from, you know, that station was originally built for horses. They have a plan, and he's working on getting funding for it with the first selectman.
which you're saying if they change the building, this will take care of the heating issue, et cetera.
Would be our hope, yeah,
I would hope so
absolutely.
too.
It's a major renovation
Those men-
plan that they're.
Those people deserve something, in my opinion.
Have you ever been to Fire Station 4 or any of the fire stations?
No, yes, I have been, Sherwood's. He did a great job. He came away a new, different person after seeing it in operation, and the doors, you know, were a problem and all that. So I'm in awe of that, that you.
Any of
have
you wanna go to
building.
any of the fire stations, we'll bring you whenever.
I
you
don't
want.
wanna be cold, so I don't.
Bring it in.
I'm big on being
Gino
warm.
goes summer.
Yeah, no, I'd like the winter, but no, that's embarrassing to tell people we have a station that's that cold. Those people deserve better, in my opinion, not that you know, and I'm sure you gentlemen are working it, but it doesn't mean you have to say, well, we're working around it.
I was
You shouldn't
down,
have to.
I went down there on Christmas, cause that's the day it was, so Christmas morning, I was in that station. Look, cause they put you know, we have a system for problems. And I saw it and went down there that morning to see what was going on, and we did our best to try to boost it. The only issue is most of the portable heaters for the town were at Ludlow High School, because they had no heat at all and they were worried about it freezing.
Mhm.
So it was a balance between the things, but no, it's tough down there.
So Deputy Chief, you do use additional heaters when you have them available.
We try to, but that's not the best way to fix
No
things.
question about it.
And we
Thank you.
would rather just have it correct and you know,
Good
insulate it
luck.
properly.
Stand up, anything we can do, we're right on board.
Appreciate the support.
Anything else? Okay, CERT, I don't, who's here, anybody here from CERT? Yeah, there's one unknown number, I don't know who 7385 is, but. Chief, do you have any updates on CERT?
No,
Okay, then we can pass that. Southport Volunteer Fire Department. Stratfield. 1426, you are up.
We don't have much, the chiefs mentioned it earlier, the had his house fire. cancer study that's coming down at the end of this month. FEMA. We have 4 ongoing grievances, and we begin our contract negotiations on the 28th of this month.
They go much better than in the past.
They go worse.
Okay, any questions, commissioners? Nope, okay. And there is a donation, so that's
That's almost the last page.
where, okay, thank you.
Make a
please.
motion that we accept the donation from Nancy Dolan in the amount of $50.
Second.
All in favor?
In Aye.
favor. Donation done. Old business. You all have a discussion document that is about the charter. There are 2 provisions that I think are of concern to us. One is the residency and elected requirement for both police and fire, in our case, fire. The last charter revision group with the charter that failed, wanted to remove that. The first selectman has endorsed removing it. And so the question is whether we want to, and I would hope we would, make a recommendation to the current charter revision committee that we think this is important. I, working with Liam and Alex, as we said we would, listed 5 alternatives at the bottom of page 1 and page 2. There were page numbers on this at one point. The simplest is to simply remove the fire commission and leave it up to contract negotiations with the fire commission and the first selectman to address in a chief's contract, and that's clean and simple. There are, the next cleanest in terms of administration is to designate either contiguous towns or contiguous towns too deep is the way I described it. So it would be Westport and Norwalk West, so it's the town next over. Much more complicated is doing anything by radius. I did do a map, just a lot of time and effort. Or doing it by county, Fairfield and New Haven, Fairfield, New Haven and Westchester. And so the question is to you, initial thoughts. We've brought this up, you've had it up at a couple of meetings now. So thoughts on what you think would make sense. See whether we can reach a consensus and vote on.
I like the 25-mile radius. It opens it up to a lot of different areas. My only concern is depending on how it's written. I'm sure that 25-mile radius loops into Long Island, so we gotta make sure somehow
Yeah.
that's not included.
That's
in
not
it. Continuous land or whatever, but you can't do.
right,
Can't be taking the ferry across all the
Right.
time.
right. Other commissioners? The radius, I would point out, can be hard because part of a town can be within radius, part of it is not. You also have the issue of how do you measure response time in those periods? But I think Stanford's one of those and some of the others where you have a portion of a town in and a portion of a town out.
Right, response time is,
Difficult to predict.
yeah, because you can, there may be a day that you can get from Danbury to Fairfield quicker than you can get from Stanford to Fairfield
Absolutely.
on 95, you know?
I
mean,
generally can.
So, I mean, it just, you can almost, and I don't know how the wording would be, but like your line goes through Hampden. So if the 25-mile radius is in a town, that whole town then is included.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to word that, but that would, sort of make sense to me.
Say a 25-mile radius except Long Island.
Yeah, we can, the
Yeah.
water is not a problem, that's easy to.
But yeah, I'd hate to, have somebody say, well, I wanna live in XYZ town, but, oh, you're 100 feet over the line, so. You can almost take your 25-mile radius and list all those towns and do it that way. And then if somebody said, well, how'd you come up with these towns? Well, it was a 25-mile radius.
I actually like the option of just
Doing what?
taking it out of the charter.
Well, that's
Oh.
altogether
That's
too.
a big, so that's one of the 5 options that we can recommend is don't do this in charter,
Remove the
do
provision.
this in negotiations. On a contract. I don't know that the charter group will buy it, but that's one of the options to it. Other commissioners' thoughts?
I think that makes sense, but I could live with any of them.
The idea would be, I think, to tell the charter revision what we considered all 5 options, but actually give them a recommendation.
These are the things we looked at,
Right.
and this is the one we're recommending.
That's exactly what I think we ought to do.
Because then you're not basically just telling them here, because they'll just look at it and go, no.
Well, though, in fairness, if I were in the job, I would be like, oh, what are our other options?
Yep.
And so I think by giving them all the options we considered, we're fulfilling our responsibility in the discussion.
Great.
Ginny and
Sounds good.
Michael, you have not waited.
No,
No, I'm fascinated with what I'm reading. I haven't read it. I printed it all and didn't reread it before I came. Do you mind if I ask
No.
Deputy Chief what he thinks?
Yeah, sure.
Deputy Chief Dunn, what do you think?
Chief.
Chief,
Acting Chief.
oh yes, excuse me. Deputy Chief.
I kind of shouldn't probably say anything since I probably live the farthest away of it.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but
Well, and
the thing
just
is
in
that-
fairness, before you say anything, the way the police department has gotten around this several times now is that the chief they want rents an apartment in town and becomes an elector in town and has their primary family home elsewhere. So to me, that's not what we want either. That we need to figure out something than sort of dodging the charter. So, sorry, chief, I should have said that.
I mean, I could live with any of them, they all make sense in certain ways, but removing it from this and putting it in the contract, you're codifying too much sometimes doing it in the charter, because the
Yes.
charter is cut in concrete, as opposed to, if you saw somebody and he lived in Portchester and you really loved him or her, or if they lived in, New Haven, maybe you really loved this one, that way you could kind of make the decisions, you all and the first selectman, so.
Yeah, it would be a
No,
joint
yeah.
decision with the first selectman because everybody would, the commission would sign off and the first selectman would sign.
So number 5 would be your recommendation.
I need a motion for somebody to do that if everybody's ready to do that.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we recommend number 5.
Take it out of the charter.
Take it out of the charter and with Chief Dunn's input, I think that makes sense.
Great. I got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good. It passes. That was an easy discussion. Okay, public comment? Then, we have no other business. We need a motion to go into. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. That's actually, I think, pretty straightforward. It's the bottom of, it's mid-page, page 3, before the radius chart. So our current charter has 2 provisions, one of which describes the way we operate, which is the last paragraph, Article 9, paragraph 22D. That on supervision, which says the fire chief shall report to the first selectman on matters of administration and operation, and to the fire commission on policy matters. There is also a provision in Article 10, 6B1, up 2 paragraphs. That goes on, it says we had the fire commission have general responsibility, management and supervision of the fire department of the town and all property and equipment used by or in connection with the operation of the department, including hydrants used for fire purposes. We don't do that. We don't ever want to do
We
that.
don't own the hydrants.
And we don't, well, this is oversight, so our suggestion in the committee is in the quotes, which says, take out most of the paragraph, so it reads, have general management and oversight of the fire department of the town, and all of the stuff about property and equipment be taken out. It describes the way we operate and all of that. Questions?
No.
Well,
Comments?
my comment
Makes sense.
that I have is the term general management can be anything,
Right.
which could be the property and equipment used in conjunction with. So to me, that's redundant, the way that it was originally written. You know, that's my reasoning for saying, yeah, you can pull that line out because it's sort of in that general management thing.
Others, thoughts?
Yes, I see what Joe's saying, but if you didn't say general management, I would use the word general management because the other type of management is specific. And even though the word specific isn't in there, but general management can mean a lot of different things. And I would leave the word general in there and not use the word specific because we don't do it specifically. The chiefs and the deputy chiefs do it and we don't. So I think general should be left in, Joe. That's.
No, I'm not saying take that out. I'm not saying take that out. I'm saying the term general management includes all this stuff on the bottom line.
Well, it could or doesn't have to, right?
Right, exactly,
Doesn't
depending on
have
how
to,
we, depending on how you interpret.
You're making a linguistic point, not arguing for the actual phrasing.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm making that point is for me to be able to justify taking that out,
Okay.
Okay.
right? You
Okay.
know, that's my
Well,
justification for
okay.
taking that. And if the
Mhm.
Charter Revision Committee does not want to do that, worst case scenario, we need to take out including hydrants for use for fire, you know, if that needs to come out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and
And I think if it's explained to them that we don't have anything to do with that anyway.
yes, I actually, and I made clear on the record that I was not there as a commission, but I went, quite frankly, to hear one of their public meetings.
Mhm.
And they had so few people there, it kind of became important for me to make a comment. And so I specifically talked about this, and they were like fire kids.
Yeah.
So they get it.
Okay, all right.
So, so can I have a motion to accept that the recommendation is that the language read have general management and oversight of the fire department of the town?
Move that.
Okay, Liam, who's the second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Now, executive session. I need a motion to go into executive
Make a
session.
motion to go into executive session.
Okay, and for personnel and extended sick leave. And in the first part of it, we're including who? Help me.
Executive board members that are here.
Okay, okay, executive board members, the deputy chiefs, the chief, and Mr. Becker.
So Thursday.
You get it.
Everything should be good now.
Ready to go home?
I had to wait till.
Splash the water on his face.
Are we recording yet?
We should be.
Okay, good. So reconvening from the executive session, no motions or resolutions were adopted. Please use the official language, Sheila, that we normally use. I don't have it in front of me at the moment.
No votes were taken, no motions were made.
Yes. Thank you. I'll check, for sure, check. During executive session, so we are back in regular session, and I think we have a motion.
So I would move that we extend the sick leave for the firefighter who discussed in the executive to our April 10th.
Yeah, that's the second Thursday.
Second,
The first one was
Leon made the
Yeah.
motion.
Liam made the first,
I think he Sheila didn't.
and we came back in session at 9:04. Anything
Motion
else?
to adjourn.
Second for a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're done.